welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with a block I like to call Scrappy Sawtooth. Now, my friend has asked me, what can I do with my strings? Well, we're in Tucson, and I didn't bring any of my strings with me, but I have a bag already of strings that I have already collected from sewing projects like the one here behind me. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you a really cute way to dress up a shoofly block. Now, I also do speaking engagements for free, and we have a Zoom meeting once a month where we do a sew date, and we have a Facebook group which is growing really rapidly, and we're making use of a room to sew in where the members can go and sew. Now, before we get any further into this demonstration on the shoofly, I want to introduce you, I believe again, to Mona from What Mona Did. Now, Mona's YouTube channel is going to be in the show notes below, and she's doing like the Christmas vlog. We're shooting this on December 8th actually, and we're, so there's all sorts of Christmas vlogs. I don't know when we're going to be dropping this video, but go check her out if you got the opportunity. And of course, if you like what you see, subscribe and tell her that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. So come on in, let's get to this fun little sewing on a Scrappy Shoofly Block. Okay, so here we are at the sewing machine. Now these are the pieces I pre-cut to make the shoofly outer edge or the silhouette. Now I did have a big bag of scraps, but I pulled just a bit, or not scraps, but string. So I just pulled a bit of it out. Now, a couple of things that people forget. Okay, so you put a big long one in the middle, and now you're searching through your pile for another long one. You don't need to do that. You can take pieces. Now I had done some cutting on a bunch of fabric that was about the same size, and I ended up cutting down a bunch of stuff. Hang on, let me get this going. You can just take these and sew them together, right? Any way you want, actually. And I'm just, as long as these are from blocks that I was sewing, and I needed to cut squares out of them. So, I just kind of put, a few here, a few there, and there we go, right? You can just, because they're about similar size, you can just sew them together. That's what everybody forgets, right? Like, you don't need all the, I like to put, not red with reds, but reds with other colors, so you've got some mixing up going on. But as long as they're about the same width, you can just sew them together to make them longer. Give them a good 1/4 inch, and away you go. Now, I probably don't need more than that. So what I do is, I do have a leader ender. Now, I open them up just like that, and I finger press open that little seam, because I find that little seam stays open longer if I press it open, or it lays a little flatter. So, it's still not long enough. So I guess we have to add some more. So we'll add on, let's see, I'll take my pile and I'll just shake through. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We'll do this. And so you're going to add, just sew them together, and then you kind of, that's something everybody forgets. And the other thing people forget is to add white. Let the light in. Let's see if I can't find one that's, a little bit. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here's one that's kind of close. Let the light stuff in. Like, put whites or white background in. So this is very quickly then becomes something that you can work with. Now, I got this a little longer, so I'm going to take it, and there we go. So what I do is I have my crumbs all laying out like this, and I'll shake them, and I'll try and get the smaller stuff all sewn together, and I just lay it so I have good overlap on both corners, and then I have overlap here, and I just run it under, and I kind of eyeball that 1/4 inch seam. I don't get too crazy, and I just kind of hold it there. Okay. Now when I'm sewing this, as I'm coming up to those seams, Let me see here. Wow, that's a loud machine. When I'm sewing this, I make sure my seams stay open, right? Because it redistributes that fabric a little differently. You don't end up with bumps or lumps in your quilt because of fabric. You know, there's too much fabric here or there or whatever, you know. So that it kind of, you know, gives it a little different thing going on. Now, I'm going to add this on here. And add this. Here. Yeah, just to make those a couple longer. Okay. Now I'm just going to sew down the other side. What I'm going to do is finger press this and push this over. Now, I just pulled paper that I have in my printer, or had in my husband's printer out. You can get reams of newspaper print or newspaper weight. You can also just go buy a newspaper and trim it to whatever square size you need. That works as well. And that's kind of a, you know, easy, quick way of doing things. Now, as I'm sewing my strips, if I pieced one strip here, I don't put another pieced one there because I can't guarantee the seams are going to be offset enough, right? But so I try and put like one solid one piece bit, one solid one piece bit, and I find that makes it a little bit easier to deal with, you know. So okay, and it gives it some variety too in the color and all the rest of the stuff. And sometimes I have little leftover blocks that I have pieced, and I just put them together. Now I take this and put it back into my strings because it's a little bit too long to leave at the end of a block. Okay, let's put another couple through together. Oh, there we go. I'll do this. Yeah, get some variety going here that way. I mean, you can do your string blocks any way you like, right? The trick here is to get lots of different sizes, lots of different colors, especially if you're going to go with a really varied colorway. You know, like this one now is big enough, and it's kind of long and super skinny and fun. So we just put that one in because we can get rid of it that way or use it up. There we go. And here. Now, this piece right here is too small for me to save, so that goes into the pet bed. You know, all that stuff would go pet bed. And I try and sort out my little stuff as I go, just because it's easier for me to do that, right? You're rooting through all this stuff anyways. You might as well dig out the little stuff. Okay, let's get this. Okay. And like I say, you have a choice. You can sew it together or leave it and make smaller piecing. It's up to you. In my bin that I have at home, we're in our little home here in Arizona, and so I don't have a big bin of strings here yet. I might by the end of the winter season. I might have a big bin, but that's okay. But right now, for now, I don't. And so I find that I am better if they're sorted by color. Then I have an idea as to what I want to do with them, right? So let's put these two together, just because we can. Okay. Now I did put some white in. That's a kind of a white background feather print. Really pretty, really pretty. And I'm just going to put this in. Yeah, that works. Oh, get this pressed open. Just finger pressed open. Now, some people too, they sit and they've got their little iron here beside them. Well, I'm gonna do that way. They've got a little iron beside them, pressing as they go, and that you get really good results with. Okay. I had a big stack of the stuff to sew together. I didn't realize I had so much. That's okay. Okay. Yeah. I have already started to work on stuff that I have purchased, right? So, like some of the fabric I bought already, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, oh, I should probably put a piece bit there. And we'll just open that up, just like so. Press it open. There we go. Yeah, so my 301A that we left here in Arizona, this one here, this sewing machine, all we had to do is give it a good oiling, and it's purring along. Now it sounds quite a bit different than the other 301A that I have, so it's always interesting to see how these things are, you know. It's amazing to me that they are still worked. They still work well, and they so beautifully. I can't believe how lovely they are. And I'm going to put another skinny white strip in, or like a posy, small posy. My friend was overwhelmed with her strings and her crumbs and everything, so I told her we should have a string bee. You know, everybody brings strings, and we make string blocks where everybody gets to sew and put in their strings, because I mean, you know, the more variety you have in string blocks, the cooler the work looks. And I'm waiting for her to call now to set it all up, because it would be fun. I think that would be so much fun to do. Okay, and with the light, add your blacks. Your blacks need to go in. And a little black polka dot. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a nice width to go into like a corner or something, right? That's a good size width, so I'll just put it on my small pile. And I'll keep, this was kind of a fun print. There we go. As long as they're similar sizes, you can sew them together. So, there we go. Oh, now, I bet you, ooh, this would work. There I go. There we go. See, when you're doing strings like this, you have a leader ender every time you sew something, because you're always sewing something together. Now, let's get Oh, let's get something fun over on this side. Ooh, look at that. I found something I like very much. Okay. That's a lighter pink floral, which will work perfectly, but it's a long piece. There, so I just trim it off, so I have, you know, a good chunk left that I just put into my longer strings. It's not a problem. It'll go back and be used yet another day. Okay. Here, get those two sewn together. There now, I wonder if that, no, that's, you need about a 1/4 inch hanging off of both sides, right? So that it's, you know, you've got good coverage. So if I take this piece, now the little black polka dot, boy, that's a skinny little piece. But if you've got like a piece that's like skinny like this, don't be afraid to add it in. And like I say, I keep the bigger pieces, the little thicker pieces, I keep them closer at hand for the corners. So you see when I flip that, it's going to be quite a little corner. And I can go digging through my stuff to get one. Or, there we go. Just pop that back like so. And I'm going to put this in here. I think that will work. Yes, it will. Is it big enough? Of course not. Now, let's get something thicker. So what you're looking for now is something a little wider. When you're right at the corner like that, you want to check the corner and have a good at least 1/2 inch overlap. That takes into account your seams, and you've got a good 1/4 on either side. So that's where we're done. Okay, there. And here we go. I'll just get something really bright to go up against that orange, of course. Okay, there we go. So now that corner is going to be covered. So we're down, we only have the one corner left. Now, I think we had some larger pieces of white stuff in here, light stuff. Oh, here we go, here we go. Here's a nice piece. And that's definitely going to cover. I got something a little smaller. Ooh, let's use this. Okay, let's just use this. That's big enough, and you've got a good, like when I take it right to the corner, you've got a good 1/2 inch here, right? So yeah, that piece will work. And remember, this is string, right? So string only has 2 things to do. It either goes back into your stash because it's long enough to make yet another string, or it goes into pet bed material. So, okay. Now, I'm going to break here, and we're going to trim this up to 8.5 inches square, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's what we look like now, and I'm gonna, like I say, we're gonna cut here. I'm gonna trim it really nice square, 8.5 back, because this is 8.5, and we'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. We've got it all trimmed up, and now it looks like, these things never look like anything until you trim them, right? So, I mean, we've got some light colors, and then we get some darks. It's all over the place with color and everything. It looks great. Now, when we get to the shoe fly silhouette, I cut mine by using the easy angle triangle ruler, but I have given you the cutting instructions for the, you know, the traditional method. So if you don't have that ruler, you can still make this block. But these half square triangles will finish at 2 inches, unfinished at 2.5. So, I mean, they're, you know, nice little size here. And we're just going to run our 4 little half square triangles through. Now, one of the things I want to point out too is I have not done any stay stitching around this block. And I'm going to, and I haven't removed the papers yet either. And I'm going to explain to you why. I'm sewing all the way around this block. So I don't need to be putting extra stay stitching in, because all that's going to do is make the paper harder to remove. I trim off my points, my little dog ears, and I trim deep. I prefer a deeper trim because then there's less bulk in that seam, that corner. And here we go. Now, there, that's all going into a pet bed. It's nothing gets wasted here. And then you just press to the dark. I'm finger pressing because nobody wants to watch me iron forever and ever and ever. Amen. So, here we go. Okay. And last up. There we go. So now we're going to lay this shoe fly out. So we've got this piece in the center. These are going to, the red is going to point towards the middle. Then the white is on the outside, or the low volume is on the outside. I got this low, I can't remember where I got this low volume, but wow, I just love it. It's just such a cute little low volume. Okay, so now it sews together just like a 9 patch, right? So you take your top 2, you line them up nice and neat, and you push them under, and I prefer to web. And you guys, of course you web. Of course you do. Everything by web. So I take this piece and I push over this, and that's how I put it together. Oops, I'm just going to lay this back out. Everything fits perfectly too, you know, like it's the 2.5 by the side piece. They're 2.5 by 8.5. And this goes together really well. Oops, and of course it drags everything out. And then these 2 pieces go just like so. Okay. There we go. Take your little plug. And now I put it all back down just so you guys can see what's going on here. So one side goes out, so you press to the dark. One side goes in. Oh dear. Now you know what? You have to go this way here because that's the path of least resistance. And okay. You do, yeah, in order for this to lay flat, you have to maybe, you know, adjust the way you would put stuff together. Okay, so this and this. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I need to make design boards here. I miss my design boards. Like, you know, for years I sewed without them and I never missed them. And my friend Jamie made me a design board and I thought, okay, I'll give it a try just to see. You know, oh, I loved it. I loved it at first. The first time I used it, I loved it. I thought, yep, this is the way to go. And that goes like that. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this presses out because it's the path of least resistance, because there's so many seams along here. You you might as well just let the block go the way it wants to go. And that means then this block gets pressed this way. And I'll show you that in a second. There we go. We're just going to flip that over. And we're going to start on the very edge. Now I get my needle down. I stop with my needle down. And then I make sure that that meets perfectly where I need it to meet. And I clip the other end so I can match up my where I need it to be. There. And now there. Okay. There we go. Okay, so this is going to press out because it's the path of least resistance. And, you know, there's some things, you know, like when you've got that many seams along an area, it's not worth trying to fight it, right? Okay. Oops, there we go. And you want to make sure that nesting is perfect right there. Okay, now I'll just get this off and I'll show you how fast that paper comes off, because you're pressing it this way and this way. There we go. So now this paper, like sometimes you need tape because the paper is falling apart by the time you get to the actual ripping, and I'm not fighting with this at all to take it off. I make sure the outside edge is taken off first, because it makes it just a little bit easier. And we're always looking for easy, fast ways to do this. And I've had, I don't know how many requests on show me how to do this. What I've done in the past is I've taken my bigger projects, or, you know, lots of little pieces that had to be stripped off the back, and I've taken them to my grandchildren. I have 3, and they love sitting there, you know, with cocoa and picking papers at the dining room table with grandma. I don't know why, but maybe they think it's fun. And it just makes the chore go very quickly. And some grandkids pick cleaner than others. So, you know, it's kind of like, okay, you know, that's all right. That's okay too when we do that. So I've got all around the outside edge done. And now this just comes off, because I have reduced my stitch length on my sewing machine to 25 to 30 stitches an inch. So very quickly, we'll just roll through this. And like that. And like that. Oops, half of it. Okay, that's fine. There. And I'll have to find my paper garbage now in the house. Yep. And that's how fast this comes off the back. Okay, let's get to our ta-da moment. Okay, here's our ta-da moment for our Scrappy String Shoe Fly. I think this one came out really cute, and it's a good way to use up your strings in your stash that you probably have lots of. This one takes a few little artistic licenses on how to do this, right? Basically, it doesn't matter what size your square is inside, but make your ends the same width as your cornerstones on your half square triangles, and then you can adjust this pattern to what you're able to work with. Let's say you only have 6-inch squares or 6.5-inch squares. You can still make this thing just by changing your width and depth of the outer pieces. think of it like border pieces for a string block. So this was a lot of fun to come up with, and it was a great way to use my strings up. So I hope you have a wonderful week ahead and everything is good for you. Stay well, take care. Okay, until we meet again. All right, bye. My husband and I would love to thank you for watching our videos and being part of our Facebook group and coming to our Zoom meetings. It's been so much fun on this little adventure that we've been on YouTube. I just want to we are doing Zoom sew dates still coming up and those dates are going to be listed in the show notes of this video. For the next year, we're making that commitment to you, and we're having a lot of fun with those Zoom sew dates. So please, feel free to come in. Even if you're not a quilter and you just want to come and do some crocheting or knitting or whatever, yeah, come on down. We're good. The other thing is I still am doing speaking engagements for the quilt gals just to help them out to get back on their feet. I am doing only Zoom meetings. And I have a PowerPoint presentation that talks about all the free patterns that we have put out and will be putting out to the world. So they're more than welcome to take any of my patterns and use them for their charity quilts, right? So that's kind of important that they know that we're there. So if you are part of a guild, let your programs person know that we're speaking for free over Zoom only. We're not doing any traveling or anything like that. The other thing that I want to let you know is that we do in our Facebook group, everybody's sharing pictures and having fun and asking questions, and it's a hoot. And we do still have the room feature in Facebook that we can go sew within. My admin person, Kathy, was able to set that up. It's no longer called Brenda's room, it's called Kathy's room, but we got a room. We do have a room working, so we're all happy with that. So if you get the opportunity to come join us on Facebook, that's great. We'd love to have you. So until we meet again, I hope you have you and your family have an absolutely amazing weeks ahead, okay? You take care. All right, bye.